Assalamu alaikum. This question is from non-Muslim, and the question is death penalty wrong according to the Qur'an, or can the government judge a murder to death if they follow the Qur'an, like the government?
I think after my whole lecture, and I think even either my English was too complicated, or someone didn't quite get the message. But when I said that you can't judge whether the religion is true or not, because the religion happens to have some rules that you don't like the sound of. Remember I said that? Yeah, I think you all know what I was getting at, right? Okay, so the point is that the point I want to make here is whether Islam has the death penalty or not for a crime or not. What has that got to do with the Qur'an and Islam being from Allah or not? Right? I don't understand the importance of the question. You see, if I said to you, and if I say to you, yes it does, or no it doesn't, what's the issue? I'm not really sure what's the point of even discussing it. Because from the point of view of a Muslim, if you are a Muslim, then you believe that the Qur'an is from God, and that whatever God says is from His knowledge. Yes? So whose knowledge is better? Your knowledge or God's knowledge? God's knowledge. You don't even have to be a Muslim to understand the logic of that. Right? Even someone who's not a Muslim can understand the compelling logic of the knowledge of God being far superior to even any collection of human individuals' knowledge. So the important thing here is that we have to assess, is the Qur'an from God or not? If you are a Muslim, and when I say a Muslim, if you're actually a person who understands that being a Muslim means submitting yourself to God, as opposed to a person who happens to be originally from Pakistan or Bangladesh or Somalia or Morocco or wherever, and Islam happens to be the religion of your people, and Islam for you is just a bit of your culture, like you eat samosa as sambosa, okay? That you're a Muslim, right? And you may think that female genital mutilation, forced marriage, marrying your cousin is part of Islam, even though those things have got nothing to do with Islam. You may think it is because you don't know the difference between Islam and culture. And then you may think that when you come to Norway, that you can just sort of fit Islam and sort of have a sort of Norwegian version of Islam, right? And just fit that into, as a Muslim, of course, we're going to always respect the laws of any society in which we live. That's part of what Islam demands from us as Muslims living in a land that's not the Islamic land. There's a difference between that and what I actually say. No, if I'm a Muslim, what God says, I accept it. Now, if this is strange, I would like to refer everybody, even if you're not Muslim, I'm sure the story of Abraham or Ibrahim is very familiar to you. Yes? Now, Ibrahim is given in the Qur'an, or Abraham is given in the Qur'an as a paradigm or as an example for every true believer. And the Qur'an says, who turns away from the deen or the way of life or from the understanding of Ibrahim except a fool? Now, Abraham was ordered by God to kill his own son. True or not? I think everyone knows that story, right? So what did Abraham do? Does he obey God or disobey God? Okay, he obeys God. Now I'll ask you to logically justify that for me, please. Give me the logic. What's the logic behind killing your son? Huh? Yeah, there is no logic except that that's what God told me to do. That's the only logic there is. And in fact, by the way, that is the supreme logical conclusion. It's the most logical conclusion. If the one who created the whole universe, the one who is going to determine what is going to happen to me for the eternity of forever, for the eternity of the life after, as well as the one who has complete control of every single thing that is going to happen to me in my life, a sensible, logical person would do whatever it takes to seek the pleasure of this creator and not to displease this creator. Right? So that is the basis. So I really, unless the one who actually wants to ask the question will come and ask and discuss, that's my answer. My answer is, let's not get caught up in whether the Qur'an says this, and I could give a whole long list, right? Chopping the hands off thieves, stoning adulterers and adulterers to death, the punishment for adultery, for homosexuality, for highway robbery, for drunkenness, for taking drugs, for dealing in drugs, and a whole range of other things that Islam has. The question is, okay, all of these things, all of these issues that people have about Islam, but my question is, what has that got to do with the issue of whether the Qur'an is from God or not? What's it got to do with it? Because you know what, I will tell you, if this book is not from God, if Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is not the prophet of God, why do I want to follow it? Why? Why do I want to pray 5 times a day and fast Ramadan and not eat and drink anything from dawn until... I mean, there may be some, I'm sure there are lots of good reasons why it might be a good discipline, right? But why? Why do I want to not have fun and enjoy my life and have as many girlfriends as I like and, just have 4 wives instead of hundreds of girlfriends? Oops, okay? And... or just have 1 wife because I'm afraid I might do injustice. Why would I want to restrict myself in my life? Amazingly, they accuse us, but who has an unrestricted life? Who can do anything they like? Drink and fornicate and whatever. Why? For what? What? Just because I don't know. It's my culture. It's not my culture. It's not my culture. No, I follow this for one reason. Because I believe this is from God. If this is not from God, I have no interest in, okay, then I would say, Muhammad, he was a nice guy, he was a clever guy, he was whatever. I'm sure the Qur'an has some interesting things to say, and so do lots of other books. But why would I follow Islam? I follow it because I believe it's from God. That is the important question. Is this book from God or not? That's the issue we need to address. That's the issue we address today. That is what I thought I gave some pretty conclusive, rational reasons for an intelligent person to believe that the Qur'an is from Allah.
Okay, thank you very much, Abdur Raheem. Jazakallah khair. I think that probably wraps that question up.